today we are going to create a counter which has start, stop and reset button. So go ahead and create a new project. So I'm taking single view app and give any name, it's up to you. And click on create. Yeah. So we go to the main storyboard. So this is the place where we can add labels, buttons, images, etc. So to create a counter, we need a label to display the numbers like the counter data, and three buttons. One is for start, stop, and one more is for reset. So go ahead and add it. So I'm adding label and three buttons. One, two, three. And now we will add the constraints for these all the buttons and label. So to add constraints, go here and click on this. So from top I'll make it as 50, left I'll make it as 50, and right I'll make it as 50, and height I will give it as 100. And now I want to display the text in the center. So here we have an option for alignment. So click on the center, and I want to increase the font size. So for font size we have an option called font, and go ahead and click on it. So we get like style, I want to make it as bold, and I want to increase the size to maybe 30 or 32. Yeah. And I want to do the same thing for all the three buttons. So go ahead and add the constraints, make it 50, 50, 50, and the height for this is 50. And I want to give the background color as blue, so check for the background. So we have background option here, so I will give it as blue color. And text I want to make it as white, so we have it option for text color. And I want to increase the size, so for size we'll go to font, and I'll make it to bold, and I'll make the size to 20. So same way for rest of the two buttons. So go ahead, add the constraints, and height make it as 50. And now again I will make the color like background as blue, text as white, and font style to bold, and size to 20. And the last one, constraints from top 50, left 50, right 50, and height to 50. But for this I want to give background color as different, so let's go with black color. And text we'll go with white itself, and same I want to make it as bold and increase the font size to 20. So I want to change the text label, like from label to I want to name it as 0. For button I want to place it as start. For this I want to place it as stop, and for this I want to place it as reset. So designing part is done, so just execute it. We know how it looks like in mobile devices. So for the first time it takes a bit time, so you can see here. So it's waiting for the iPhone 11 Pro Max to start, and after the start of the iPhone it has to install the application in the emulator, and then it will play. See, it's launching the counter. So here we'll get the output. So yeah, we got the output, right? So 0, start, stop and reset, but nothing is working as of now. So to work this we have to go to the assistant, so it will show us the view controller here so that we can add this all to view control. So first I'm adding this label, so hold control and drag it, and for this label I'm giving it a name. So I want to give it as counting label, and I want to outed a button just for a safer side if we want to use for other things. So I'm just naming it as button. Okay, so now we need three functions. One is to start the counter, and one is to stop the counter, and one is to reset, right? So control and drag it. So here make sure that connection is of type action, and I want to name it as start counter, and for this I want to name it as stop counter, and this one I want to name it as reset counter. Just a second. Yeah, so this one I'm naming it as reset counter. Yeah, so now we'll go to, say we are opening this file in just new window, that's it. So now we got label, buttons, and three functions. Now what we have to do, we have to make the counter start. So to do counter things, we have like default timer function. So we are going to create a variable named timer which has a default type timer. What does it stores all the functions which creates by the timer. Here this variable name, it's up to you, you can declare anything. So in this case I have given it as timer. So what is use of timer here? I'll say it in a little bit. So now in this start function we are assigning timer value. So if you write the timer and if you press dot, you'll get different types of methods. What does it do? So we are here using schedule timer. So if you select the schedule timer, here you can see the options like time interval, target, selector, and user info. So time interval, it's nothing but if I give like here 1, it's like this timer executes for every 1 second. It repeats for every 1 second. And target, so where it has to execute. So in this case we are giving it as self, and selector, what is the method or object or structure it has to execute. So in this place we are going to add one function. So maybe we'll make it as counter. So are we providing any user info? As of now we are not providing anything, so make it as nil. So repeats, do you want to repeat this counter or not? If you want to repeat the counter, we'll make it as true. So if you save it, we'll get an error saying that we haven't initialized this object, right? So click on it, use of unresolved identifier. So we have to create a function name for with the name counter. In Swift we create function name with object C function, and name of the function, in this case it's counter, and it's of type void. So here we'll mention what the counter executes. What we need to do, every time if you click on start, we need to show like 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So we need to show the integer values. So go ahead and create a variable of type integer. So I'm here I'm creating a variable a of type integer with the value 0. So now the value of a has to be increased 1 by 1, or it's up to you, you can increase twice or thrice. So to increase the value by 1, we are writing it as a plus equal to 1. So the whole data has to be displayed in counting label, right? So I will write as counting label dot text equal to, here the a is of type integer, but we want to display it in string. So I'm writing string of a. So now execute it again. It takes a few seconds. So we got the output. So if I click on start, see, the counter is increasing one by one for every 1 second, because here we have written the time interval is like 1, right? So I will change it from 1 to 0.1. It means like 0.1 milliseconds. It has to change for every 0.1 milliseconds. And if I want to increase by 2, like 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, so I have given here 2. Now you see the output. If I click on start, the output goes from 0 to 4, means it increments by 2 with the speed of 0.1 milliseconds. I mean 0.1 seconds. It's a bit slow, but it will open. Just a second, I will save it. I will stop and I will start the emulator again. Yeah, see, if you can see that it's going by incrementing by 222 for every 0.1 second. So now if I click on stop counter, it has to stop. For that we have like timer dot invalidate. What does it do means it just stops the counter. So if we see here again, so the counter started. If I click on stop, the counter is stopped. But if I click on reset, nothing is working out. So for this we are going to write the code for reset counter. So here what we want is, after clicking the reset, the value of the counting label should be set to 0, right? So what it is storing, it is storing the value of a. So here we are giving the value of a as 0, and again counting label dot text string of a. So now if you see, if you click on stop, okay, it's working. But if you click on reset, it's going back to 0 and again it's executing. So to overcome this, just do one thing, just write it as timer dot invalidate in reset also. What does it do means it stops the counter and then it resets the value to 0. So in that case the counter will not repeat again and again. So if you see it, start, it's going, it's incrementing by 2, and if I click on reset, it get back to 0 and the counter is not repeating. So if you want to increment by 1, you can change it here. That's it. Thank you for watching. If you have any doubts, please do mention in the comments.